8th, 2010 was a day to remember for the Porter family. Jim Porter had spent hours at the hospital while his wife was delivering triplets. After an exhaustive day, he came home, was hungry, and decided to put something on the stove to eat, and thought he would sit down, watch a little television while it was cooking, and he fell asleep. The kitchen subsequently caught on fire. Had it not been for a neighbor that saw the smoke, who came over pounding on the door and literally kicked the door down, saved his life. Then he had the task of telling his wife that he had almost burned the house down.
And he has a whole entourage with him. He has his two sisters. They're standing at the bottom of the bed, and the next thing I hear, last night the house caught on fire. I thought, it's okay. As long as we have each other, that was just the big thing.
The birth of my triplets was really one of the most fabulous things that's ever happened to me in my life. Part of that was the best day of my life. Having the house destroyed and not having a place to bring them home to that was safe and everything that I expected, it was also the worst day of my life.
A few days after the fire, I met with Mr. Porter to explain the claim process and his coverage. With Capital Insurance Group, CIG, he had Think Twice coverage on his home for homeowners, which pays up to twice the homeowner coverage if that's what it costs to rebuild. Jim's beautiful 1930s Victorian-style hillside home was damaged on the inside to the point where it had to be completely gutted due to the extensive heat and fire and smoke damage. I set Jim at ease and told him that at CIG we were here to make the claim process smooth and that we would replace everything that was necessary to make his house absolutely beautiful in the end.
When they stripped it down, they found lead and asbestos and all this other stuff that had to be fixed. And he goes to me, we're going to bring this place all the way from 1930s code to 2012 code.
We were also able to maintain the character and the integrity of the 1930s style and come out with a beautiful home.
Even in the bathroom tile, we had that same wave feature, and so it was very important to us to kind of duplicate that tile, even though, you know, it's from 1930.
And this is 2011 hardwood, and this is 1930s hardwood, and you could barely tell the difference. Working with Phil, the house is really twice as good, 3 times as good than it ever was. I think Phil and CIG was just absolutely fantastic.
The Porter's coverage also has additional living expense.
They told me the babies were coming home the next day, and we had nothing. And that's when I lost it, because the cribs were all gone, all their clothes.
We were able to help the Porters with their temporary house in setting up all the furniture, setting up the nursery for the babies, moving it in, getting it completely ready for them so that when they came home from the hospital, they didn't have to move furniture, that it was all set to go. We were able to place them in a home in their immediate neighborhood so that they were close, they could keep an eye on the construction as it progressed. I checked in regularly during the year while the family was displaced to make sure that their temporary home was suitable and to make sure that we were paying for all the expenses that they were occurring. The nicest part for me as an insurance adjuster is being able to see the Porter family settled once again into their new home. I was able to go by a few weeks ago and see the finished product. It was absolutely beautiful. It was also a treat to see the triplets and their son playing together in their new home. Almost, you know, living with them for a year, so to speak, and going through this process and now feeling like a true friend.
I tell my friends today, is if you don't have CIG, my gosh, you have to get CIG, because they really did take good care of us.